Living alone was something I cherished. The quiet, the peace, the ability to organize my space exactly how I liked it. These were the things I valued most about my independence. After my recent breakup, the solitude of my small third-floor apartment felt like a refuge, a place where I could heal and rebuild. Little did I know, my sanctuary was about to become a place of mystery and fear. It started innocuously enough, with a note. I remember the day clearly. It was a Thursday evening, and I had just returned from a long day at work. I dropped my keys on the kitchen counter, kicked off my shoes, and headed to the living room to relax. That's when I saw it. A small piece of paper on my coffee table. I picked it up, puzzled. It was a simple note, written in a neat, unfamiliar hand. Leave now before it's too late. I stared at the note, my mind racing. Who could have left this? I checked the front door, but it was locked, just as I had left it. The windows were all closed, and there was no sign of forced entry. I convinced myself that it was a prank, maybe by one of my neighbors, and decided to brush it off. After all, it was just a note, right? But then it happened again, and again. Over the next few days, I found more notes, each one more unsettling than the last. You are not alone. Get out while you can. He is coming. The notes were always written in the same precise handwriting, always on small pieces of paper that seemed to appear out of nowhere. I started to feel like I was losing my mind. How could someone be getting into my apartment without leaving any trace? Determined to get to the bottom of this, I decided to take action. I installed cameras in my apartment, covering every entrance, every possible way someone could sneak in. I even set up a camera in the hallway outside my front door. If someone was getting in, I was going to catch them. The first night with the cameras was nerve-wracking. I barely slept, my mind hyper-aware of every creak and groan the old building made. In the morning, I eagerly checked the footage. Nothing. No one had entered my apartment. The doors and windows remained undisturbed. I felt a mixture of relief and frustration. Maybe it had been a prank, and whoever was responsible had given up. But that hope was short-lived. That evening, as I was preparing dinner, I found another note, this time on my kitchen counter. You can't hide from him. My heart pounded as I ran to check the camera footage. I scoured through hours of video, but there was nothing. No one entering, no one leaving. It was as if the notes were appearing out of thin air. The notes continued, each one more dire than the last. My sense of dread grew with each new message. He sees you. You are in danger. Leave now. I didn't know what to do. I called the police, but they were dismissive, suggesting it was probably a prank or someone trying to scare me. They offered to patrol the area more frequently, but that did little to ease my fears. I felt trapped, watched, and completely alone. I started avoiding my apartment as much as possible, spending long hours at work, visiting friends, anything to keep me away from the place that had once been my refuge. But I couldn't stay away forever. Every time I returned, there was another note waiting for me. One night, as I was lying in bed, I heard a noise. It was a faint whisper, just on the edge of hearing. I sat up, straining to listen, but it was gone. I convinced myself It was my imagination, the result of too many sleepless nights and too much stress. But the whispers continued. Sometimes they were so faint I could barely hear them. Other times they seemed to echo through the apartment. They were always just beyond comprehension, like a voice speaking in another room. I started to feel like I was being watched, like there was someone or something just out of sight. The final straw came one night when I woke up to find a note on my pillow. The message was clear, written in the same neat handwriting. "He is here." I bolted upright, my heart pounding. I checked the cameras, but again, there was nothing. No sign of anyone entering my apartment. It was as if the notes were being written by an invisible hand. I couldn't take it anymore. I decided I had to leave. I packed a bag and called my friend Sarah, explaining everything. She was skeptical, but agreed to let me stay with her for a few days while I figured things out. As I was leaving, I found one last note on the inside of my front door. "You can't escape him." I shuddered and left, not looking back. At Sarah's, I tried to relax, but the feeling of being watched never left me. I kept my phone close, constantly checking the camera feed from my apartment. It was always the same: empty rooms, silent and still. One evening, Sarah and I were talking about the notes when she suggested something that sent a chill down my spine. "What if it's not a person leaving the notes?" she said. "What if it's something else?" I laughed nervously, but the idea stuck with me. What if the notes were being written by something supernatural? It seemed impossible, but then again, so did everything that had happened over the past few weeks. Determined to get answers, I did some research. I read about haunted houses, poltergeists, and other paranormal phenomena. One article mentioned that sometimes spirits leave messages as warnings, trying to protect the living from something worse. Armed with this new perspective, I decided to return to my apartment. I needed to face whatever was happening head on. Sarah came with me, insisting that I shouldn't be alone. We arrived at my apartment in the evening. The air inside felt heavy, oppressive. I checked the cameras, still nothing. But as we stood in the living room, we both heard it, a faint whisper coming from the hallway. Sarah and I exchanged a nervous glance and slowly made our way towards the sound. The whispering grew louder, more distinct. It seemed to be coming from the closet at the end of the hall. My heart pounded as I reached for the doorknob. I hesitated for a moment, then threw the door open. The closet was empty, but the whispering continued, louder now, almost frantic. I stepped inside, searching for the source of the sound. That's when I saw it. A small, hidden compartment in the floor. With trembling hands, I pried the compartment open. Inside was a dusty old journal. I picked it up and flipped through the pages, my eyes widening as I read. The journal belonged to a woman who had lived in the apartment many years ago. She wrote about experiencing the same things I had: notes, whispers, the feeling of being watched. The final entry sent a chill down my spine. "He is coming for me. I can't escape him. If you find this, please leave. Don't let him get you too." I dropped the journal, my mind reeling. Sarah and I didn't need any more convincing. We grabbed my bag and left the apartment, not bothering to lock the door behind us. As we drove away, I felt a sense of relief, but also a lingering fear. Whatever had haunted that apartment, it was real, and it was dangerous. I stayed with Sarah for a few more days, then found a new place to live. I never went back to the old apartment. The landlord called me once, asking about the condition of the place, but I told him I had left everything as it was. Life eventually returned to normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I started noticing small things, shadows moving in the corner of my eye, faint whispers in the dead of night. I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination, but deep down, I knew the truth. The notes stopped, but the fear remained. I never spoke about it to anyone, not even Sarah. It was a secret I would carry with me, a reminder of the unseen tenant that had invaded my life. And sometimes, late at night, I still hear the whispering, a faint reminder that some things are better left unseen, and some warnings are better heeded. That was my story, my brush with the supernatural. I hope it serves as a warning to anyone who finds themselves in a similar situation. Sometimes, the things we can't see are the most dangerous of all.